I went to at least 4 production houses, I think. But they were not very sure because it's a female-centric film, the budgets are...
Why are these people being cast? Why Naslin and Kalyani together? How will their combination work? So my job did not end with the writing. So I was on set every day when I didn't have shoot myself. I think DJ Shekhar's remix of Kiliye Kiliye was doing the rounds at that point, and I listened to it, and the lyrics, it's like Palanadu Lude.
And Dulka was like, only Toby can say something like this. Only he can do something like this. So this idea is good. Let's see how practically we can make this happen.
Darling, mobile ulagin superstar.
MCR Pure Cotton Club, formals and casual shirts.
Summer holidays vandachu, நம்ம GT Holidays vandachu. GT Holidays, South India's #1 travel brand.
So, Shanti, tell me, just to expand a bit on this dramaturgy bit, so he comes up with all these bits and pieces of this world that he's seeing. And of course, you guys are chatting and all that. So, what is the difference between a co-writer, somebody who's sitting with him and jamming and writing the screenplay, which is traditionally what a co-writer does? And what is the difference between that and what you're called in the credits, which is a dramaturgist?
Yeah. So a dramaturg works in various capacities in various productions depending on what the director expects of them. So basically they are almost like in a facilitator position with the director to communicate the director's overarching creative vision to all the departments so that you create something that aligns with the vision. So whether it's in terms of like research during writing to look at what are the myths we can incorporate. I mean, because we are telling a larger story as we go on, so there is going to be references to myths that expand the world more. That bit, and then also like being part of the production process itself. So my job did not end with the writing. So I was on set every day when I didn't have shoot myself to make sure that the detailing in the film comes across correctly. So whether it's working with Jittu Chetan, who was the art director, or Melvi and Archana, who did the costumes, to work out what are the symbols and imagery that we are going to use to build this world up. And even in terms of these nuances and these socio-political layers that are in the film, to make it all consistent and to build a world that is believable and has its own rules and logic. That's essentially what I've done in the film. And it was really exciting for me to see all these elements sort of come together and tie in to make sense as a credible world that we are building for the audience. So there are lots of Easter eggs in this film, and that was something that I had a lot of. I mean, even something small, like for example, Arun Kurian's character, Nigel. He's this guy who's completely unreliable, disappears on a whim. So I asked Melvi to create a locket for him that's 404. So it's like error not found, right? So like these are little...
There's a lot of fun elements like that added in the film. I don't know, maybe once the film is accessible on OTTs and all, people will find
these things. All of these, even the time, and even just things like the names, Chandra's name in her passport, the names of her parents, the buildings and the names of shops and stuff. There are lots of details that are there that it was so much fun. He was like, yeah, just go to town, do what you want. And then even in terms of the representation of deities in the folklore bit, the king's version of the goddess Durga is very different from the mother goddess statues that you see in the tribal community. So the idea of the mother goddess has existed for eons, and it did come from indigenous populations. And then, of course, with Hinduism, and it traveled and became a different thing. But the idea of a fertility goddess or a mother nature goddess has existed since time immemorial. So with Jittu Chetan, I had this discussion with him about what that figure should look like. It's rounded shapes. It's not sharp corners. Again, if you look at statues that have been discovered from the BCs, the mother goddess figures are very rotund, and that's the same reference that we've used for the Devi that the folk, the tribal community prays to. So all of these things, it was so creatively exciting for me to be part of, and everybody, even with Archana, the detailing we've given for the costumes that Chandra, Michael, they all wear. There's like details hidden in their costumes. And they all like just took it on board and then came up with their own suggestions and, you know, just really elevated the ideas that we were
Even the
presenting.
tattoo Toby has is, they're all so many details in that. I mean,
Yeah.
And then the other part that I had a lot of fun with, which I was not expecting, was working on concept notes for the songs and the lyrics in the film. So with the promo song, it's Taniloga Morakkari, which essentially means somebody who makes and lives by her own rules. And Mohsin Parari has written the lyrics for it. So I actually wrote a very long concept, it was almost like 4 pages or something, about what we need to communicate in this song, because this is the first bit of music that's going to be accessible to everybody. It was, and my brief was essentially this idea that, you know, not your goddess. That, you know, because even pedestalization as a goddess really restricts what a woman can do. It is a form of control in itself, right? Like you are either pedestalized as a mother or a goddess, or, you know, it's that Madonna whore complex and everything. So it was this long piece of note, and then the last bit of the note was, these are just ideas, please use this only as a launch pad. You don't have to include everything, you don't have to, I mean, there was everything from Medusa to everything in it.
And was also like, dude, I understand your point, but yeah, let me see if I can do that.
So I said, you know, it's not a prescriptive sort of thing. It's just that this is the world in which this song should belong. And he came up with like really beautiful lyrics, and there was a back and forth between him and I as well about like certain words, and that was also really exciting to see how that that vision came. And then Rebel, who's this very talented rapper, upcoming rapper from Meghalaya, she was brought on board by Jakes. And then I had a call with her and I gave her a brief, and she's actually used Not Your Goddess in her rap. So it was really fruitful, and it's also exciting to see how men and women approach the same concept differently, because I think you know, like it's fun to see how, because Rebel could immediately connect with that whole idea of the binary and the control that is in the binary and everything. So yeah, like and Kiliye was so much fun because
that was also her idea.
How did you pick that song?
He wanted to give it a retro treatment because it's a party sequence, it's a musical sort of treatment, and he was like, yeah, it'd be nice to have something that has that vibe. And I think DJ Shekhar's remix of Kiliye was doing the rounds at that point, and I listened to it, and the lyrics, it's like Palanadu Lude, you know, like it's talking about somebody who's like flitting about, looking for a home almost essentially, and Arage, and Yakshiza associated with beauty. And this idea of this fragile being, because she has superpowers, but she's fragile and vulnerable, and she's looking for a place to call her own, because what she lacks is a sense of belonging, and that's somehow what connects her to Naslin there as well, right? Like a sense of familiarity and home that she finds somewhere because of that previous connection as well. And like the lyrics worked so well, and I felt like it was just, it's such a cool song, it has such a great vibe, but it also connects to the themes that Chandra as a character represents. And I think that it's so great that the song has now gone viral and people are like sharing that, and every time something from the film, I mean, I can immediately connect to the 100 things that we solved. Because when you work as a dramaturg, it's not just about what you're putting on screen, it's also about what you're choosing not to put. So it's about making creative choices that serve the director's vision. And I'm just like, it was such a creatively fulfilling experience. Sorry, I'm just like too excited.
No, you have, please be, I don't even have to give you, it's like amazing. Because tell me about, when Tovino comes in and, he's this insanely fun part of the movie, right? Because it's like a big star doing these fun things. Actually, Tovino has this crazy side, because the same thing I remember when I saw Marana Mas, and I saw I don't know if you remember Tovino's little mini cameo there. I was like, I was not prepared for that. And when it happened, I was like, oh my god, this is very funny. So when you create something like, so you're creating this. I'm talking about balance here. You're creating a world where there is this lonely woman who has years of, I don't know if to call it trauma or whatever, but a kind of a troubled existence. And you're talking about very normal man opposite her with two of his doped out friends kind of a thing, so that or not. In the middle of that, you're bringing out this outsized, super creature who's having a lot of fun and is going to pretty much steal that scene. How did you look at it in terms of tonality? Because you have a kind of a toned down tonality here. Here it is deliberately a little outsized.
Yeah.
So how did you see that?
In the initial versions of the script, this character was not appearing in the film.
Not there at all.
Not there in the film.
Okay.
But when we had this idea that we could expand this world and maybe go for other multiple chapters, make this a little more bigger, there was this one producer that I met before Wayfarer. He gave me this idea that there should be one more character who appears in the film that is going to make people believe that you're going to come up with more films. This is going to open up a world. So I thought that was an interesting idea, and the best character I could pick out from a folklore was a Chatan.
Yeah.
Because he's a fun guy. Because we have seen different versions of Chatans even in the recent Mamuka film Brahma Yugam. So that was a different Chatan. We have a very old My Dear Kuti Chatan, was a real fun guy. So I thought let's bring in a fun guy and just dilute a little bit of the tension that's happening. Let people relax for a bit, and the best person to come on board as a Chatan would be Tovino, because
He's going to be.
He's got impish charm, you know, like he's got a sense of humor that, and their equation, because they go back a long way.
Because he's one person I can call him up and you should do this, and he'll be like, I'll do it for you. We have some kind of strange bond. I don't know how, because maybe it's because the years we have traveled together or something. It was the first person that I called and asked if he could do this. He was like, if you want me to do it, I'll do it. And then still we gave him a narration, and I told him how this is going to go on in the next chapters, and he was like super excited. I was worried because he's already done a superhero film. If he would be, he was like, no, let it be. This is a different superhero. I'll do this also. And he was so fun. He was quickly on board. And I remember telling Dulkar as well. He's like, dude, I'll just take off my beard and I'll keep this. My eyebrows, like, I'll really look like a Kuti Chatan, don't worry. And Dulkar was like, only Toby can say something like this. Only he can do something like this. So it was just not a friendly appearance, a friendly gesture. He believed in the entire concept and he wanted to be part of this. So yeah, that was the idea when Toby came in. And with Yannick, I knew this and this should be the things that he should be doing. But Yannick came and gave it a really fun twist with the magic and stuff like that. We knew he's a magician. He's going to be a street magician. He's going to be a trickster. He's an illusionist. He's going to trick your brain. But then with what Yannick achieved with Tovino was really fantastic.
And he's paid homage to My Dear Kuti Chatan as well.
Yeah, because the walk on this thing.
Yeah, that reminded me that Kuti Chatan again goes back to your concept of, because that's there's a magician controlling the Chatan, just like you said, there's this priest controlling the Yakshi. It's a strange coincidence, I guess. It's like this one. But when you designed that character, again you just said, let's not let's not go traditional, let's go like modern. Everything is kind of
and we had I had an image of how this guy is going to look like, but then we had a small sketch about his costume was designed by Archana, the one that Toby was doing. With B also, she came in and I was like, we need some detailing in the costume that people are going to connect to in the next upcoming season. We've given a few animal references to each character, if it's even for Chandra, for this guy and the other guy who appears towards the end of the film. So I don't know if people have noticed, we've given a small monkey on him. So that is the characteristics of a monkey and Chatan are much similar. And I was even surprised when people actually found out that the lace bit that comes in the after credit scene was the initial person that Sunny found in the initial stage of the film. So yeah, it was real fun.
Yeah,
was it, you mentioned finding this other producer, but before that I actually wanted to say this is amazing that Tovino said this, that, so what if I'm playing another superhero, this is fine, because I think a lot of people, actors or directors, they get mixed up because they think people will say, oh, he's done this, so I won't watch this, or, choosing a good movie is hard enough, and when you add all these other potential probabilities of, will people watch me in another romantic role, should I change track, it becomes so insanely difficult. Like to kind of have this, so that I just wanted, it just was on the top of my mind. But you mentioned meeting a producer before Wayfarer. So how did the film end up with Dulquer producing it? Like, who was the first person you pitched it to? I don't want names. I mean, like, how many people did you?
I went to at least 4 production houses, I think, and they were all interested in the film. It was not like they don't want the film. They wanted to do the film, but they were not very sure because it's a female-centric film. The budgets are the way you're narrating it. It looks like it's going to be a big film, considering Malayalam standards. And they were in that space that should we not kind of stage. So, and it was taking a lot of time. I mean, for them to decide this. And after the last production house I went to, I just called up Nimish. I think they're going to take some time. I don't know if it's going to work out. And he was shooting King of Kotha with Dulquer. Yeah. And they were sitting together and it was like, we're not yet finding a producer. And Dulquer is like, you can see me, right? I'm a producer also. Why don't you pitch it to me? And then they had an initial discussion and Dulquer found the idea very interesting. Then he called me up and I went and narrated the entire screenplay to him. So, and then the thing I like about Dulquer is like, we didn't have any cast at that point of time, and he was like invested in the idea that this idea is good. Let's see how practically we can make this happen. And he took on from there. I mean, he was so invested in bringing people together, even if it's Archana or if it's Yannick Ben, because they're all expensive people considering Malayalam standards. So, but he was, if you want to pull off something like this, you need technicians like this. Let's just bring them on board. He was a super supporting producer. I mean,
Yeah. So finally, it went through a bunch of people, ended up with Dulquer.
Yeah.
And did he have any commercial inputs at all? As in, because, a lot of the time, the way people are cast are not necessarily because they're the best people for the role, but because they bring a certain commercial viability.
Yeah.
Either they name some name, because down the ages, even like Malayalam cinema is a little different in this, but it's always the package, right? It's like this music director plus this actor plus this, something. It's like it's always one package that's put together. So did Dulquer have any commercial?
That's another big thing about Dulquer, because when we cast Kalyani, she didn't have a big hit in Malayalam. I don't think so. We cast Naslin even before Prabhu was released. So basically, we had a very small group of upcoming actors and doing a big film. I was also surprised at some point, like, is he okay with this? I mean, I used to keep asking Nimish, like, this is going to be a big film and we don't have a big star to bank the entire thing on. But Nimish was like, I think he's cool. Let's not ask him again and again. Like, I think he's cool. I think he was invested in the idea. I mean, he saw the potential to maybe this could be something, this could grow into something. And I remember Dulquer telling me, I'm not worried about the returns that we get in the first film. Maybe we can cash it on in the upcoming films. Let's just make a good film. Let's make a decent film that people are going to enjoy watching. So I think,
I think even in terms of casting, I think there was some a level of online chatter about why are these people being cast, why Naslin and Kalyani together, how will their combination work. A lot of this, there's a lot of speculation on our casting choices, and I think once the film released, that chatter has died down, because Kalyani has delivered a performance that is so convincing, and I'm so proud of her because she really poured herself into it the minute she came on board. So I think she was signed sometime in December. We shot only from September onwards, and from that point on, whether it was like coming for readings or just starting prep on the working for the physicality of the character, she had worked with Yannick before in an upcoming Tamil film actually called Genie. So they had an equation which, so she immediately contacted him and figured out what she needs to do to make sure that the stunt sequences come off well. And she worked with a boxing coach, Jofil, in Kochi, and she would find time for this even between her other shoots. And even during our shoot, whenever there was a window, she would go and train and come back and join the set. And she was often the first person on set, even before the production people arrived, because she had to be there and get ready ahead of time so that we could start on time. And this was such a grueling shoot schedule. It was like a single schedule, almost 94 days.
94 days,
And to actually shoot the scenes we had to shoot in that time, you had to really be prepared. There's no room for figuring out the action sequences once you come on set. You really have to have a knack for it by the time you arrive on set. And that's what she did in those intervening months. She really made sure that she was ready for the challenge. And even in terms of her personality, she's actually a very like affable person. She's not like this very withdrawn character that she plays in the film. And Dominic as a director is a very exacting person. He knows exactly what he wants from the actor and the character, and he will make you do it until he gets what he's looking for. And she was, I mean, all of the cast, they were all open to this of like, you know, okay, this is not working, so I need to, you know, keep doing it until the director gets what he wants. And often there were times when he would just be like, okay, we're done, but then he would return to that scene later because he hadn't gotten exactly what he wanted. So Chandra used to like joke about
Chandra,
this.
He'll say, okay, now then he'll come back to this later. Because I don't want them to feel fatigued, because at some point when you go for a lot of retakes, they feel like, I'm not getting this, they feel that mental this thing. So we had a very calm, composed set. We were all very cool, chill people. So we were like, okay, this is okay, Chandra, let's go to the next thing. And after that, the camera will come back to the same position, and Chandra's like, we didn't get that. We'll just try one more time, let's do it. So it was fun, yeah.
What made you say, what made you look at Kalyani and say, this is the person I want?
First thing was, if you're doing a superhero, if they've got shades of superhero thing, the action should look convincing. It should look like she knows how to fight. She has to feel like a warrior. I mean, you have to watch her and feel like she's a warrior. It should be very easy to her. So when I'd seen Anthony, this film called Anthony, and I thought she'd done action, very little action in that. She could pull it off. I knew that she could pull it off. And the character, which Chandra's character, when I look at Kalyani, I mean, I had this option in my mind. I knew that I could make her do this. She could pull this off. But I don't know her previous films and stuff like that. People have not seen her doing stuff like this. She's most of the bubbly kind of role she used to do. I don't think everybody was super convinced, but I knew that this is something she could pull off. She had it in her. She has got that swag. She's got that attitude. And the performance thing, I think that is where I think I am confident about from actors. I can bring out a little bit that they've not done.
Explored before.
Yeah, explored before. I mean, even with Sandy, when you see Sandy in Leo, you know that this guy could be a menace. I mean, but we needed a much subtler version of that.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think I have that confidence of pulling that out of.
But what happens? You know, like I understand where you're coming from.
Yeah.
Like you sometimes get a gut sense that this person can deliver.
Yeah.
Because a lot of this is also instinct, right?
Yeah.
Has it ever happened that there's an actor that you worked with that you said, shit man, whatever I do, I'm not getting what I want.
Yeah.
Has that ever happened?
Yeah, that has happened.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What do you do then?
We break. We break and then we come back later. But yeah, it's just maybe that one moment where he can crack it. He needs to crack it or something. Everybody gets there eventually.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
unless it's somebody very new who's still figuring out how to be in front of the camera. Other than that, I think a little experience actors, they come, they crack it. Yeah, they slowly crack it. Yeah.
In terms of casting Kalyani, I think we also the other reason is the figure of the Yakshi, right? The Yakshi is a concept that all Malayalis are very familiar with, and a Yakshi is typically a very sensual, very attractive woman, and we had sort of subverted that expectation in terms of how she's presented on screen, but we also had to have that element of the attracativeness of Yakshi, which is what comes out in the Kiliye Kiliye scene, which is the only place where we see her in a white outfit.
Yeah.
And when Kalyani's name came up, immediately my first thought was Lissy ma'am, her mother. It's not even a Yakshi context, but there's this film called CBI Diary Kurpa, in which she dies with Mammootty. With Mammootty, sir, sorry. In that, she's wearing a white sari and she dies in it. And that fragility was what immediately came. And I was like, that she is the right person. Like, she would be convincing as a Yakshi, not just in terms of like delivering the action sequences, but in terms of the image people have in their minds when they think of a Yakshi. And I think just the look design with Ronix and, with the goth look that he wanted and everything, the day we had the look test, we were just like, we know we've got the right person.
No, and also she pulled off that, she carried off that, when I spoke to her, she said she had signed an NDA that she should not talk about this, not talk about this. So she's like, she'd start and then she'd say, I don't know if I cut off. And then she'd go back. But then one of the things that she did mention is you didn't want her to blink, you didn't want her to do this, you didn't want her to do that. But I think what you achieved ultimately is a character that did the superhero things, but also conveyed that you looked at her and you knew she was a sad creature.
Yeah.
That was something that was quite amazing because Kalyani in her earlier roles, even in the slightly complicated ones like Hridayam, where she's like I won't call it really a bubbly character. It's a little more than that.
Yeah.
But you know, to convey this kind of inwardly drawn, sad person, and I think that was a really good.
I think we even played music while we were shooting a lot of scenes.
The sad music.
Sad music.
Okay.
That helped a lot, I think.
Okay.
It really adds to. I mean, everybody on set was feeling it.
Yeah.
The initial portions we shot were actually Chandra setting up the apartment and slowly getting into the character. So we had this music that was played that was a little sad and deep, I think. Yeah. So slowly, I think she also felt like that there is a sadness around her. Slowly, I think Kalyani.
Like really imbibed.
Yeah, imbibed. I mean,
And I think that's another thing I really appreciate in him as a director, because as an actor myself, you know, like often sets are super chaotic, right? Like just beyond the frame, there's like madness happening around, and you have to like really stay focused to deliver what is required. But he really made an effort to make sure that the entire set facilitated what the actors were doing. So even in terms of just playing that music, he made sure that the vibe on set matched what was being filmed, so that it would help the actors stay in their zone a little bit more. Even for like that sequence where Sunny and Chandra see each other for the first time, there was music. And yeah, Chandra, like, you know, setting up the apartment. So
Sandy also, we had a lot of music initially, so that they can settle into the role. I think it helps a lot.
Yeah.
Not just the actors, everybody. What is expected.
Do you use music while you're writing? You guys were writing?
he does.
Yeah,
He does.
I listen to a lot of music.
As in particular music, like I'm writing a joyful scene today, so I'm going to play some upbeat music, kind of a thing, happy
exactly.
music.
Yeah, yeah.
So I'm not somebody who responds much to music. Like I zone out when there's music played. So that's not part of my process at all. But it's fascinating because when he works with music, I think it also helps him conceive the scene in terms of the edit.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah,
like,
I write. I mean, my screenplays are all, I think, detailed with
Short divisions included.
because I want to see the entire thing. So
Doesn't that get boring when you go to the set then if you've already pre-directed the movie?
because I'm a person who wants exactly what I have
You're
planned.
a Hitchcock.
Maybe
the
I-
I think, and that's why Nimish's collaboration with Dominic works so well, because they really enjoy the pre-production prep. They really like worked with our AI visualizer Ajmal to create the look for the film much earlier than the shoot dates. So I think they went into production knowing exactly what they were going to film, and that really helped us because we were running. I mean, we did have our constraints with respect to time and resources, and I think.
And I don't like a lot of changes that on set in terms of short division and stuff like that. I want my film to look like this. It should move like this. It should go like this. Small changes and all are okay with me, but I don't like major changes because I like to have a proper prep and have the film in my head before I start shooting.
I also noticed that you don't seem to like very, very fancy camera moves.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah.
Like as in, these extraordinarily, like dizzying kind of things. You like the camera to be a little sane.
Yeah,
Like,
I do mostly very traditional camera movements.
Yeah.
That's what we use mostly. Only things that the editor has added only that. I'm also not very keen on that, but he said this is a commercial film. Let's just have this.
Like what?
Like there's this, I don't know, in the action only. Mostly
Okay.
in the action scenes. Yeah, but yeah.
Yeah, I think that's also because of his sensibility, in the sense that this is a film that's happening in our world.
Yeah.
So
Should
to
be-
keep the movements also grounded and
Yeah.
to connect it to the world in a way that is believable, I think that's also a creative choice.
Like
that
you know
they
what
made.
I'm talking about. Like it's a dumb cliche, but supposing somebody's flying, your way of showing it is to keep the camera on the ground
Yeah.
and show so that you register what a normal person would see flying as. Another way to do the same thing would be to have the camera from her point of view and show the ground rushing up, or the ground moving away or something like. I mean, there's no right or wrong in
Yeah.
there, but it's your choice. So that's
Yeah,
what I'm.
because when you enter Lokah, I mean, when you see it, it's everything in. These are the boys. The boys are the perspective.
Yeah.
I mean, the world is opening up through them.
Through them,
So I
yeah.
wanted everything to be from Sunny's point of view. So that's why we've kept everything on the ground. And yeah.
Yeah, and I think
Yeah.
Sorry, I think it was fun because there's a point at which in the screenplay the audience starts traveling ahead of Sunny,
Yeah.
and they know what's up before he does, and that happens with the other characters also. Venu and Nigel also discovering it at later stages, and that really added to the humor really well. And I think the actors pulled it off so well. Like Chandu, whether it's like, you know, that whole sequence where he's so excited that Sunny has finally landed a girl. And then when Arun Kurian's character, Nigel, also in the clinic, when he's like, you know, can't you see she's afraid of blood? Like, you know, just do what you're being asked to do. Yeah, I think sense of humor, that's the whole credit goes down for
This,
that.
what's next? The next installment?
Yeah, should be the next installment.
Okay.
Yeah, I think we need to start writing the screenplay slowly because we have an idea of what the film is going to be.
And there's pressure, right?
I'm a little excited because
No, as in not the pressure to write. Of course, that's the exciting part. But what I'm also saying is like, you want to keep this installment going as opposed to one movie coming every 5 years or something like that. You know, you kind of want to, because the people are excited now, and I think people want to know, okay, who's the next you know, with this thing, what, and what really happens to Kalyani at the end. You know, it's like, for example, you know, you mentioned that your editor said, let's keep this a little commercial. It's a commercial movie after all. So one of the big commercial things is romance, right? So did you guys ever feel like pushing that one scene where she shows him the image?
I think we both had great clarity that we did not want to.
You did not want to go back in time and all that. No. You just didn't want that at all.
I'm very sure about that.
Okay.
Let's just keep it here only.
Yeah.
Let's just keep this. I think that there's a special bond between them. You really don't know if it is romance or if it's what they're feeling.
To keep it in that zone of what's unsaid.
And for me, it was more like they're both a little protective of each other.
Yeah.
That's what's lovely about it. It's like, it's not like, at the end, he feels like he should protect whatever she is, and she, because of her power, she protects him. So that was beautiful. It was like a mutual, like a thing, and I can't wait to see what happens. So once again, so thrilled about your success, and again, I can't wait to see what you're going to come up with in the next installment. And I'm looking forward to when the film comes on OTT. I'm sure we'll get a lot more theories about like, is this happening, is that happening, is this kind of
I don't know, people have gone and watched it 3 or 4 times, and there are already like decoding videos on YouTube. We're like, whoa, okay.
And they've cracked a lot of
we won't say what, but they have.
It's like, oh, they've got this. They're cracking it.
But I've always wondered about this. Why do filmmakers feel surprised when the viewers crack something? Isn't that why you do it?
Yeah, exactly. That's what I mean. It's feeling surreal because you want them to take note of all these, and this has never happened. I think I've done a lot of that in Tarangam as well, but it's all went unseen. I mean,
you should let this out. Go watch Tarangam and make decoding videos about.
When this is happening right now, I feel like, oh, this is cool. This is what I wanted. This is what every filmmaker dreams. I mean, so it feels good.
It's because that's the moment when we realize that people have made it their own. They've really embraced the film so much that they're excited to figure out what we've fed them already. And that, there's already stuff that's become part of like common parlance, and it's funny with the comments, and there are certain dialogues people have picked out and they're like reposting that as comments or memes, and it's just Kalyani's had a lot of messages from creepy messages saying I'm O negative, by the way.
Oh right, okay, that's a new way to pick up someone. By the way, I'm O negative. So but that's good when things enter pop culture. It's always fun, and what I love about a movie like Lokah is that people see. I watch movies primarily emotionally, and so I'm getting this lonely. This person, this is like, there's this movie called The Loneliness of the Long Distance Runner. It seems to me something like that. It's like the loneliness of being a superhero, the existential weight of being a superhero. You're seeing a feminist political story. I'm not saying that we are not seeing the other thing, but like one thing seems higher than the other. For you, this is what it is. You're seeing it like a fun superhero kind of film, and that's lovely because we all bring our own perspectives, the way we view films to this, and that everything is right, and it's always great to know what you were thinking of, when this whole thing was being done. So that's fantastic.
There's this film that I watched in 2016 that had stayed with me, and when Dominic pitched this idea and then he was talking about Man from Earth and all of that, I was like, oh, you have to watch this film, Only Lovers Left Alive, which features some exceptional acting by Tilda Swinton, and she's one of my favorite actors, and they play vampires who lived forever, and they're just living in this like rundown apartment, and they've like interacted with Da Vinci and all the historical figures along the way, and they're just like, they're vampires, but they're benign presences in the film. And there was like this humor that was running through it, which really worked. And I think that was also exciting, I think, for us to watch that, someone else has had this.
At the same.
And it's so interesting how there are these ideas floating around almost like in ether. And it just sort of.
I've had messages from people that we were almost there cracking the same concept and stuff like that.
That's scary, no?
Yeah, it's scary.
Because you're just working so hard on something, and then something releases very much like that. Like it just becomes a, it's scary. So yeah, but like on the one hand you have this very. I don't like to use the word rooted because it's come to mean something that is very villagey and folksy or whatever, but every world is rooted. But Minnal Murali is this very
homegrown,
like a local kind of a thing. And Lokah is more like it's more like it's a cool vibe toward the yakshi, whatever it is, right? So it's like a you're comparing a gramophone record to a earpods, that's the difference, and I think it's great that both exist, and both are great, and it's like it's amazing that you did it, and I just want to congratulate you both on what I think is, one thing that we are constantly cracking is trying to figure out what will people watch today, because you can think up all the ideas, but they are only interested in going to the theatres for a particular kind of movie. And I don't believe it's like if you make a good movie, they're going to come. You've got to make a good movie that speaks a language that communicates to them, which could include pace, which includes color, movement, style, lighting, acting treatment, everything. It's like you can't just make a nice movie and then expect like it's going to go out there and everybody's going to come. And I think that you cracked, that's amazing, because the way the screenplay is, the way the edit, everything is, the way the music, the way the acting is, the way the young stars are there. It's like it's a very much a good movie that also manages to be commercially viable, which means that it also speaks to people who are watching movies today. And that's a very tough one to crack above everything else. So that's amazing. So
I mean, I think I really think of this as Dominic's baby. Like, he's invested so many years and so much time, and he's been so patient waiting in the sidelines, just to create something that he wanted to see. And I think on some level, I think that's what's really worked for the film, because he was not really thinking about whether the audience, this is what I have to feed the audience so that they have to, they connect with the story. He just truly wanted to make a film that he would love to watch on screen. And I think that sincerity is what attracted everybody who collaborated on this project. And I think somewhere that is why people have connected to the film as well, because everyone who worked on it worked with an honesty that is quite rare. There was no formula to this, really. Like, it was just, I think, one man just steadily bringing on people who aligned with his vision and really giving them that sense of freedom and ownership to elevate what was on what started off as an idea.
Yeah. So let's also, while we're wrapping up, just say yeah to Dulquer.
Yes. I must say, one, to conclude, I think another thing that is very interesting to me, and I think that has played a factor, even if maybe not overtly, is the fact that both Dominic and Dulquer are girl dads. And the first thing that comes on screen is Amike, which is for his daughter, and he's had to spend so much time away from his kid while working on this film. But this is also like a film for like girls everywhere to watch and just be like, yeah, like we can be represented in this way as well.
Yeah.
And Dulquer also is like, you know, somebody who's so invested in being a father to his adorable daughter. And I think somewhere the idea of women doing it all, you know, with the support of allies, of course, I think that is something that they really understand
Yeah.
on an instinctive level.
And also, you know, it doesn't have to be daddy's little princess. It
Yeah.
can also be daddy's little vampire.
Yeah.
So that's why not? You know,
Yeah,
it's like,
yeah.
because every time I see this daddy's little princess, I'm like, you know, it seems very Barbie-ish to me. Like that one particular phrase. I mean, I understand it's coming
Yeah,
out
they're
of
like daddy's little heroes.
Yeah.
You know, like, I mean, I'm sure raising girls changes the way you see the world.
Yeah,
and I think somewhere that has definitely
I,
translated.
and I would actually go beyond. I think being around strong or independent-minded women, and that changes the way you look at the world more. It's also.
Yeah.
But I'm saying that just, you know, like I do think that we're all a product of the people that we
Yeah,
have also been
absolutely,
around.
yeah.
And you know, like you know, I can name a number of people in my life who've changed a lot of the way I process a lot of things. So yeah, that's
I've had a lot of perspective shifts after I've met Santhy, my other friend Archana Kavi. A lot of women in the industry who actually have made my perspective shift a lot.
Yeah.
It's interesting. Yeah.
So, like, I know I keep saying wrapping up, but I'm not stopping. But just tell me this. You know, I asked this frequently to people. Do you know, because of the nature of the film making films, you know, it's not possible to have a work-life balance. It's like it's always you get a bit of maybe a break, and then it just hectic things again. You're always thinking about the next film, the next character, whatever. Is that a state that you kind of like?
I mean, I've been at home only mostly in these last 8 years, because this is actually a good holiday for me.
Yeah.
Going out of home and working and stuff like that. But yeah, family and friends, they've all been kind and very supportive. Because I wouldn't be able to do this otherwise.
I mean, even with my parents, I think Dulquer adores my dad because he sees a girl dad at a later stage. I mean, you know, somebody who's gone through this with their daughter. I mean, I had a life, a very stable academic life in Oxford, and I gave that up and chose a creative life, which was not easy on my parents at all.
Yeah.
Because it would have been a life with less uncertainty. I mean, everyone's life is uncertain, but when you work in the films, it's even more so.
Yeah.
And you're like, you know, even the fact that this has happened, we could not have predicted that this would happen. Like a Friday can change your life. When people say that, that's literally what has happened.
Yeah.
And they've really, for 8 years, they've seen me go through the ups and downs with like no reward in sight really. And I think the fact that they've made choices to support me through this journey, even just a simple thing like a roof over my head while I'm like, you know, struggling with finances, I have food on the table thanks to them. All of that has also supported the fact that I was able to do this with Dom and work on this project with this incredible team. So yeah, we are all like super grateful to our families for having been very understanding and patient with us. Because it's not easy to live with creatives who are like, you know, going through the throes of, yeah.
Yeah. So thank you both, and here's looking forward to Lokah Chapter 2.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank
this has been a great conversation. Thank you.
Darling, mobile ullagin superstar.
MCR Pure Cotton Club, formals and casual shirts.
Summer holidays vandachu, நம்ம GT Holidays வந்தாச்சு. GT Holidays, South India's #1 travel brand.